This conference will now be recorded.
Start over again. We have 4 members in attendance, which is a quorum. So I'll start the meeting at 6:05. And our only guest tonight is Katie Tortorello. The first order of business is the review and approval of the minutes of the April 21st meeting. Has anyone had a chance to look at them and review them?
Yep.
May I have a motion to accept?
I'll accept.
I wasn't there, Tom.
I'm sorry, Dan?
Joe wasn't there, so I can't do anything.
Okay. Second,
Jay.
Jake? Okay. All in favor of accepting the minutes as presented?
Aye.
All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion is carried. There is no consent agenda. There is no open forum. Financial report. John, please. Looks good.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it looks real good. If you look at the bottom line figure, we've already exceeded last year's total revenue, and we've got, what, 3 months left? May and June, sorry, 2 months left. So, it's going to be a busy summer. I think the visitor dockage, as you see, is a big number, and we continue to get reservations for the summer. So, all in all, it's real good from a revenue standpoint for the department. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
The only question I have is, how does this compare to what we had projected when we went for financing of the project, the Sequatucket Harbor?
Yeah, I think it aligns very well. I think I had estimated, based upon several items. One was the 10% rate increase. One was the additional slips that we added. And, I don't know if you remember me briefing the memo that I kind of put together, the kind of business plan. I think the number that I came up with that we would increase based upon the new marina was somewhere in the range of $375,000. And so, prior to that, we were in the range of $1 million of revenue. So as you see, we are very close or exceeding that projection.
With 2 months to go. So
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
There is no new business. This will be a brief meeting. Old business, the proposed modification to existing seasonal dock, Mashpa Road by Catherine Tortorello. This is a project that was presented to us at the last meeting, and we asked for some clarification. And Catherine, you have the floor.
Well, thank you very much. Yes, at the last meeting, the committee agreed to have us submit a letter that was written from the dock owner, which we have. I'm sorry, that's sideways. There you go. All six of the people that share the dock signed it. We all agreed to extend the dock by 8 feet. So I submitted that, and there it is before us.
Thank you. John or Heinz, any further comments to what we had before?
It's Heinz. I'll go first because I don't have any comments. Thank you.
Okay, good. Good. John?
Sure. I'd like a couple questions. So all these members who have signed it are members of the association, and there are only 6 residents that are part of this Mashpa Road Association?
That's correct. That all of us have a 1/6 ownership in the beach area where the dock is, shared area.
So I want to make sure you answered my question. So there are only 6 residents as part of what is considered the Mashpah Road Association.
Yes. I'm sorry,
Okay.
I thought I answered that question.
Yeah, I
I
didn't
mean,
know
there's
if it
6
was
houses,
any
there's
different, whether it's a bigger association and whether there are just 6 families that are defined as having some deed to the beach part of it. So it's not a bigger association. It's 6
No.
families, six
no, there's
residents.
only 6 families that have access to this beach.
That make up the association.
Yes, it's attached to 6 properties and there can't be any more. That's all there are ever.
Got it. Okay, thank you. And then I guess my second question is, obviously you've talked to Mr. Arger. What did he say about the Chapter 91 license? I still haven't seen it. It hasn't been presented. You know, if he's the owner, I would think he'd be able to put his hands on it.
Right. Well, as I explained last time, the Argers live in Indiana
Yep.
and their house is, their second home is in Harwich, and he hasn't been here to see it. He scoured his house. He couldn't find it. If it's anywhere, it's at their home in Harwich, and they haven't been there to look at it yet. The only documentation I have is that letter that was submitted as part of a Board of Selectmen's meeting in 2018, written and signed by John Brendan as the harbor master, that says that if I could rephrase it, it referenced the Chapter 91 license. It says, regarding the this is from a letter October 23rd, 2017, written to Neil Weinbaum, who is president of the Harwich Pines Association. That's a neighborhood next to ours.
Yep.
It says, regarding the Mashpah Association, the dock that is present at the association beach area has been properly permitted by the state, Chapter 91 license.
Okay, so I guess my input to this, Mr. Chairman, is, again, I think I said last time, I don't see any navigational issue with her proposal, with the association's proposal, specifically Mr. Arger as the owner, to add another section of dock. However, I think I would like it to be said, going in front of the Conservation Commission, that we should, I think it's contingent upon verification that there is a current Chapter 91 license. For all projects that come before us, we verify if it's a new structure, we verify, the whole process is an application to receive a Chapter 91 license for a new structure. And then when there is an alteration of an existing, we are adamant that we know that there is a current Chapter 91 license on that existing structure. So that's all I would say, is I think it's important that that gets verified. And maybe Conservation can do that. They are really the holders, so to speak, of Chapter 91 licenses. That's all I have.
Could I address that, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Okay. Since we last met, I went to the Conservation Committee meeting, which was 2 weeks after yours. I forget the date. At their meeting, they approved our request for the RDA. I forget what that stands for. And since then, I've received their determination of applicability, giving us approval to add the section of dock. They did suggest, which I have done, that we reapply or apply for a Chapter 91 just to have it on the books so that we can access the piece of paper. And so I have applied. It's already been submitted, a simplified Chapter 91 license. It was called a WW006. So that's been done. Conservation did not, they approved our project, to add one section of dock, but just for extra insurance, they suggested I add that in case Mike Arger can't find the original one. So that's been submitted and done.
So if I may, Mr. Chairman, just to follow up, I still recommend that it be contingent upon that. I think we should be consistent on how we approach all of these alterations to existing docks. Conservation, as everybody knows, is the approving authority, and that's fine if they want to approve it without verifying or without making sure that there is a Chapter 91 license, then that's up to them. But that would be my recommendation.
From what I've heard from Ms. Tortorello, that the license is not available at the Conservation Committee. So the motion will have to specify that it's approval subject to presentation of a 91 license. Is that your understanding, John, Mr. Harbor Master?
Well, and I would say, we are in a position where we're going to make a recommendation to the Conservation Commission. We're not the approving authority. My suggestion is we would recommend approval contingent upon verification of the Chapter 91 license, just like we do on every project. And based upon that, Conservation will make their decision. It sounds like they already have, so be it. But I think we should be consistent on how we approach these things.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion from Jay, John, or Dan.
I'll say motion to approve, but on contingent that the license is active or approved. License what?
I would say verification of Chapter 9, current Chapter 91 license.
Second.
Okay. Who seconded it?
Okay.
Jay?
Okay, so motion is to approve the plans to extend the float on that the current license, Chapter 91 license is current, correct?
Yes.
Want me to read what I have?
Go
Yeah.
ahead, Leah.
So a motion, sorry if my dogs are gonna bark, I apologize. The motion was made by Dan Hall to recommend the approval of the presentation contingent on the verification of the current 91 license.
91, Chapter 91.
license, I'm sorry, yes.
Does that
Leah,
include?
I would
I'm sorry.
also mention proposed modification to the existing seasonal dock. Did you get that, Leah?
Yes, yes.
Kathy, you have a comment?
I just wanted to know, you're asking for the current Chapter 91 license. If that is not able to be found, is it or the one I just applied for in case?
A current.
You know.
Yeah, a current, whatever is most current will work.
Correct. Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, if you applied for a new one and that overwrites the old one, whatever is the most current.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
My understanding is you've asked them for a duplicate of the original Chapter 91 license. Is that correct, Kathy?
I have to say the state licensing web pages and all is clear as mud. I just followed all the directions and worked with the, DEP, who kept emailing me back and saying, send it in a different format and do this and do I have everything and here's one more thing. And they finally said, your application is complete, thank you. So
What was the application for specifically?
WW006 simplified Chapter 91 license. And I was allowed to do that because of the size of the dock is under a certain amount of square feet and blah, blah, blah. It was a whole lot of clear as mud. So have I applied to get a duplicate of the one? I think I've applied for a new one.
Oh,
Yes. Or some, it's hard. I'm sorry that I'm not, I applied for one. That's all I can say.
But did you apply for Mr. Ajir or did you apply for you, for you?
I did it in my name.
Oh, boy.
Why
John,
is that complicated? Nobody else, I mean, what?
well, originally it's in his name. That was the reason we postponed the vote on it because we didn't have his approval.
Right?
But now we don't have, it sounds like we don't have any license for the dock. So we're waiting for a new license on a dock in your name. Does that does everybody understand that? Or am I reading into it?
Yeah, if I may, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I'm really confused now. The owner of the dock is Mr. Arger. So in order for him to have been able to put a seasonal dock in place, he had to have gone through the permitting process, the licensing, the Chapter 91 license process. All I'm asking is we need to verify that he has a current license before we allow an extension of the dock. And I think that's an important piece. If conservation seems to think that there is a license and they're not worried about it, I guess they can approve this. But I wouldn't. And I certainly wouldn't approve this based upon Katie's statement that, well, we don't know about the license, so I'm applying for it under my name, yet Mr. Arger owns the dock. So I'm confused.
Conservation told me that I could be the applicant for the RDA to begin with, and then they told me I could be the applicant for this, the simplified Chapter 91 license. I'm only following directions that I've told.
Yeah, I understand. And you know, I'm not going to try to interpret or speak for the conservation agent. I'm just speaking as the harbor master and the waterways who has to review all of these applications. I think we should be consistent and verify before we suggest that this get approved, that there is a current Chapter 91 license for this. That's all I'm saying.
Does it, this is Jay, does
Yes,
it matter,
Jay.
does it matter whose name that license is in?
I would say as an accountant, it should be in the owner's name. And the owner, if the owner is Ajir, then it should be in his name.
I find it hard to believe that the state would just allow some person other than the owner to be issued a Chapter 91 license for a structure. I just don't see the logic in that.
Did she apply for a copy of it?
No, it
She
doesn't sound like it.
Katie, did you apply for a copy or a new
I wish I
license?
could answer that clearly. I may have. I'm not sure. I just.
Do you have a copy of the application?
That part was online. I have pieces of it. I have, this was the instructions and supporting materials. I had to draw a map on their template. I had to submit my determination of applicability. I had to apply as the submitter. There's different questions they wanted me to answer.
But was any of that in there that you're the owner of the float?
No. No.
So just anyone can apply? That's where I'm missing.
Yeah.
It just said, it asked questions like, is the use of the structure for residential or non-commercial purposes? Is it less than 600 square feet? How many structures does the property have? Is it for water dependent use? Is it pile supported structure, associated ramps and floats? You know, there were a lot of, is there safe berthing depth? Does it involve dredging or filling? Does it include a roof structure? Is it a non-tidal waterway? I mean, these are all.
Yeah, no, we get that, but
That sounds like a new application.
yeah, but how can you apply?
For something you don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be like me applying to change the color of your car. Yeah.
Well,
So
Uh,
if I can, Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, I mean, I think we just take the approach that, again, I'll restate it. I think at least I'm speaking for myself. I shouldn't speak for the commission, but for the committee, but I would approve it with verification that there is a license, period.
Yeah.
And then it goes back to the Conservation Commission, and, you know, they are the approving authority. They are the ones who deal with the state when it comes to Chapter 91 licenses. And I think it's going to be in their hands to decide whether there is a license or whether there's a new license or whether the license can change and be put in somebody else's name. But
Dan?
So in the motion, let's just say this, is that we'll approve it under the conditions that there's a Chapter 91 license for a current Chapter 91 license under the owner of the float. It's going to be for the owner of the float.
I think so. I've never heard that it would be in a different person's name, but
I mean, we have the Chapter 91 has to be verified that the owner of the float has a current license. I think that's maybe the way it needs to be verbiaged.
No.
You see
I'm
what
going to ask the harbor master this question because I don't know it. Does the owner of the float have to be an abutter to the dock structure?
Well, it's an association, so
does the owner of the float, what was your question?
The owner of the property that the dock comes off of has to be the owner of the dock.
In this particular case, I don't know the answer to that, Mr. Chairman. Most of what we see people who own residential waterfront property apply for Chapter 91 licenses, apply for structures. If they have an existing one, we always say, do you have a current license that, you know, would support us to address a modification to it? And they have to submit a modification to a current Chapter 91 license. This is unique in that I've never seen a dock owned by an association. In this particular case, it's owned by Mr. Arger, but it's being presented as if there's 1/6 interest, and I don't know if that means ownership, but 1/6 interest in the beach area where this is located. So it's a unique application, and I am in no way trying to put Katie in a tough spot, but I just think from my perspective, we should be consistent on how we respond to every case that comes before us, whether it's a new structure or whether it's a modification to an existing one. And then ultimately, Conservation Commission, who is the approving authority, will make a decision on that. That's all I'm saying. So from a navigation standpoint, my recommendation is I'm okay with what's being proposed to add a section of dock to the existing structure, but it is a modification. And typically we verify that a modification to an existing Chapter 91 license would be required.
Okay, thank you. Katie? Are you there, Katie?
I'm here, yes. My
Could
husband
you-
is telling me here too, Chuck.
Oh, I'm
Okay.
sorry. I said
Hello.
Katie. Leah. Could you reread the motion, please?
Sure can. It's Dan Hall made a recommendation to approve the proposed modifications to the existing seasonal dock. I'm inserting, if that's all right, Mashpah Road,
Yes.
contingent upon the verification of a current Chapter 91 license registered by the owner of the float.
Should it be issued or registered? That's a technicality.
You can tell me which one it should read.
Well, isn't issued and registered the same? I don't see much of a difference.
I think issued is fine. The state issues these
Okay.
Chapter licenses.
Okay.
Okay, so then it should read, contingent upon the verification of a current Chapter 91 license issued to the owner of the float.
So, right.
Yes.
Great.
And we have
Excuse me,
a,
guys, can I ask a question about that last line there, just to clarify, because we got some direction from the conservation that Katie could apply. But that indicates that Katie's application, if it's needed, will not suffice because it's in Katie's name. So we can change that.
well, that would be up to the Conservation Committee, as the harbor master stated. They're the ones
Okay.
that be determining whether it's appropriate or not to have Katie on the name, or they have to have Mr. Agier on the name. That's my understanding.
I guess based on what they told us, then that they're okay with that. That's our presumption at this point, right?
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do, is protect ourselves, because
Right.
Okay.
it's odd to have someone that's not the owner of the float apply for a Chapter 91.
Right.
But if they're going to allow it, then that's up to them.
Okay. Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, there's a motion on the floor. Any further discussion? None. Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion is carried. I apologize, Katie, for the discussion, but this is new to all of us, so
It's okay.
hopefully-
It's very new to me, as you can imagine.
It's complicated. I will say it's
Yeah.
more complicated than we thought. So
Yeah.
okay, thank you very much.
Thank you
All
for
right,
your
thank you.
understanding.
Thanks.
All right, thank you, good luck. Monthly
Thanks.
reports, Board of Selectmen, we have none. Harbor Masters, we have it, was provided to us. I thought, yep.
Yeah, anyways, if there's any questions about it, it essentially shows that we're getting busy. We're trying to get ready for the boating season and getting buoys out and getting moorings out on the pond and getting all our equipment squared away and ready to go, taking reservations. So anyways, it's if there's any questions, as I think most of you know, we held a commercial fishing vessel safety training. We didn't run it, we hosted it. But it was put on by the Fishing Partnership Support Services. It's the place over in Chatham that does a real good job in supporting the commercial fleet. So they did 2 days of training, which focused on, safety training, proper equipment. They put immersion suits on and jump in the water, and they launch a life raft, and they do firefighting training. And anyways, real good training. And it was attended by close to 20 fishermen from the surrounding area, and it goes, not just Dennis, Harwich, Chatham, but the whole of Cape Cod and southeastern New England. So it was well attended, and we were happy to host it.
John, I have a question. The Harbor Master report that I have is dated April 2021. Is there a newer version?
No,
More
we
recent.
always do it a month.
Okay.
Like in May,
That's-
we report our last month's.
That's the one then. Oh, fine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. Any questions of the Harbor Master? Dan?
Well, this might be more for the open forum, but what's going on with the dockside seafood shack?
Yeah, good question.
The owner's got cancer.
Yeah, I
Oh.
heard he had some health. So John, the son, doesn't want to take it over. What's the quick story
So
on
the
that?
family, the family has decided, based upon Joe Griffiths, the owner's medical condition, that that they had to terminate the lease. So they have terminated the lease, and it's with town administration, who is working to send out another request for proposal to try to get another vendor in there. So I don't know the timing of it, Dan. It's with administration.
It's just so I know if people ask me, I know what the hell.
I know. There's a lot of people asking. There is some interest from vendors. So I think we'll get somebody in there. It's just, they got to cross the T's, dot the I's, and so forth. So hopefully.
The son John didn't want to carry the torch?
I can't comment on the details of the family's decision, but.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Well, in conjunction with that, I noticed that some of the equipment is owned by the present tenant, and the town owns the other equipment?
That's correct. Most of the equipment that's in there was purchased by Joe Griffiths. The town provided, obviously, the structure, the sink, and the fire hood system. But besides that, all the reefers, all the serving tables, everything is owned by Mr. Griffiths. And I went through with his son and did a full inventory of equipment that they've purchased, and that will be part of, the discussions when we get a new vendor in.
Okay, so we have no concern about losing some town equipment to them. You've already covered that.
Correct.
Good. Any other questions? Heinz, Natural Resource Officer report.
Hello, everyone. Nothing is new in terms of what normally happens this time of year. What normally happens this time of year is the herring are running. We're over 300,000, which is a good number, but last year we finished up over 900,000, and that usually ends the first part of June. So I wonder if we're going to get quite to those numbers. We won't know them for another 2 or 3 weeks. People are out shellfishing. The weather's getting nicer. The shellfish lab is starting to get prepped for actually gel coating the tanks this year, which I do every 2 or 3 years. So it's time for that. I have some help for that. Water quality programs are starting to get back into working order, because we passed on last year's COVID restrictions. So reaching out to volunteers, getting the Pleasant Bay Alliance program up and going. We'll put buoys out there, and the ponds and harbors will be sampled again in its thorough, full amount that we used to do up until last summer. So all that stuff's kind of ramping up, just like John mentioned. You can just feel it on a day-to-day basis. It's just picking up on the waterfront. So thanks.
Thank you both to the Harbor Master and the Resource Officer for your reports. Correspondence was provided by the Harbor Master. Any comments or questions on it?
Real quick, we finished the ramp over at Round Cove, and we have submitted a change order request to the Board of Selectmen, which was approved, to make some needed repairs to some of the bulkheads, the adjacent bulkheads at Round Cove. It's not replacement of bulkheads, it's more making repairs to the tops of the bulkheads that are crumbling, and we're going to put some new rebar and form and put new concrete to try to stabilize that a bit.
Yeah, from the example that you provided, it didn't look like much of a change from the original.
We're not changing. You're talking about the ramp or the change order?
This particular presentation, it looks like they're both identical.
So what is in there is just, if you read the plan, it shows the tops of the bulkheads that will be reconditioned. Okay, so it's showing, it's just showing the ramp and where the bulkhead repair in relationship to the ramp is being done. That's all.
Yeah, so the configuration's the same. Thank you.
Correct.
All right. Any other business, old business, new business? If none, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. It's now 6:40.
One quick comment. I know probably next month might not be the best month, but following that, even though restrictions are being lifted, can we maybe consider doing this thing in person again?
I would like to get rid of these headset. John, who do we will you look into
Yeah,
that?
I'll put in a request through Jamie Goodwin. We're not there yet as the town is. The town is not there yet. And,
Just to keep in the back of our mind, maybe July or August,
Yeah, no, I hear you, Dan. I'm with you. Sooner than later.
Yeah.
Okay, well, May 29th, we're supposed to be free and fancy free. So maybe by then the town will make a decision.
Who knows?
Okay, all right. Motion to adjourn?
Accept.
It's now. Dan?
Second.
Second?
Jay.
Jay? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Leah,
All right.
thank you very much.
Good job, guys. Stay
Thank you.
safe.
All right,
Thank you,
guys.
everyone.
Good night.
Take care,
Thank
guys.
you.
Happy
Good night.
Memorial
Thank you.
Day. Good luck on the
Thank you.
water.
You too.
And the next meeting is the 21st of June.
Okay,
Yeah,
bye,
John,
guys.
thanks. I got that
16th.
sticker, John.
Okay.
Say again,
John?
Jay?
I got the sticker finally.
Okay, sorry about that. Not sure what happened.
The next meeting's June 16th, right?
16th, June 16th. I said the 21st. It's 16th.
Thank you so much.
Okay, guys.
All
See
right,
ya.
guys.
Take care.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
All right, good night, everybody. Thank you.